All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's with your 49er recap after training camp practice number 4. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville, they're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon, go say hi to Mary, get some brisket chili. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. All right. 49er practice today. You know, yesterday's practice was a light practice with a lot of guys taking off. Today was a little bit heavier practice. It's still difficult to really get an evaluation on anything around a football practice when there's no pads. You know, they're not wearing full pads. They're not hitting yet. Pads will come on Monday, I believe. And you're going to have a much better idea of who looks good once the pads are on. You know, it's a very difficult sport to evaluate without pads. So we haven't seen pads yet. So you got to factor that into everything that we're telling you as far as what we're seeing from practice, because without pads and, you know, they're wearing helmets, they're running around, but with no tackling and no pads, it's not the same sport. A couple guys that look great, though. Leonard Floyd looks absolutely outstanding. He looks really, really good. I thought Dominic Purdy looked really, really good, the rookie offensive lineman from Kansas. Both those guys have looked really good. No Javon Hargrave today. He was given the Veterans Day off. One injury note, Spencer Burford has a broken hand, and it's unsure as far as how long he's going to be out. Afanga, who's trying to come back, Talanoa Afanga is trying to come back from the ACL, has not been out here yet, but they're saying he may return right around the time of the Saints preseason game. Ricky Pearsall has not played yet, but he's supposed to return on Monday from his hamstring injury. But there were a number of guys who weren't playing today, who were off today. In the last couple of days, we've seen guys get off time. And today, you know, as far as returning to practice, you know, we saw a lot of kickoff returns, I should say, at practice. So they did a big, you know, they're practicing this new kickoff return. I think it's a little bit of an unknown at this point, just because of how new it is. And and I say that because they're trying a bunch of different guys. Danny Gray, Isaac Garendo before he went down, Ricky Pearsall before he went down, Cowing, you know, Schrader, Danny Gray, I mean, Ronnie Bell, Chris Conley. I mean, there's a number of guys, Debo. Everybody's getting a look, it seems like, at this return job. And yet we don't know who's going to ultimately be the return guy. But they're practicing it. They practice it again today. It's an interesting drill it's an interesting play because it's something we've never seen before. You know, usually the coverage unit is running down the field and the returners are waiting for they're going to catch the ball as the guys are coming full bore at them. Now they're going to catch the ball. And they're going to get to go full bore. And then they're going to be running towards the coverage unit that's going to be somewhat flat-footed. So I'm really eager to see how this looks when we do it. You know, when they do it live, it's like, is the guy going to be advantaged who's got speed, and then like a Danny Gray who's got, you know, sub 4.3 speed could be. You know, this could be a huge play for him, or it may favor guys who actually have power, because they're going to get a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 step head start. And if you're 230 pounds and run with power, Debo Samuel, you might, you know, trying to tackle Debo Samuel with these rules could be really, really challenging. So to me, this is one of the most interesting wild cards we've seen hit the NFL in years. We don't know what the return game is going to look like, and we don't know what an ideal returner within these new rules is going to look like. Is it a bigger guy? Is it a smaller guy? Is it a power-based guy? Is it a speed-based guy? We don't know, but they've been practicing it with a bunch of different return guys, and I'm sure they'll experiment throughout the preseason. Couple other things today. Danny Gray, I thought, showed off on this one pass from Dobbs to Gray. Really showed off that run after the catch ability. I mean, he is just he's got a different gear If he could ever stay healthy, man, Danny Gray could really help this football team. Darrell Luter had a beautiful PBU today on a nice pass where he broke it up. Purdy had a beautiful slant to Jawan Jennings. It was just an absolute strike. Cody Schrader had more than a couple good, nice runs today. Dobbs found Braden Willis on a ball down the field, and Willis made a nice play and run after the catch. In the D-line drills, the big defensive tackle from Florida Atlantic, Evan Anderson, really looked good. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's got to be at 350, and he's moving really, really well. The other guy that moves incredibly well is Robert Beal Jr. Now, can Robert Beal Jr., who's a crazy athlete, turn that athleticism into actual football on-field production? That's going to be the question, because he is as good an athlete as there is on the football field. The question is, can he make plays? Can he put heat on the quarterback? Can he sack the quarterback? You know, I mean, Robert Beal looks like a ton, but can he produce? Shanahan said after practice that he feels good about his safeties. You know, Mustafa's looked good in this camp so far. You know, obviously Jair Brown is a tremendous young player who's getting nothing but better. There is no update on Brandon Ayuk other than he continues to hold in. Trent Williams continues to hold out. Other than that, there's no update from Shanahan on those guys. We saw Purdy hit Chris Conley on a nice play today. That was nice. We saw Schrader with a beautiful catch in the flat and a really nice run after the catch. We saw Dobbs hit Trent Taylor in the flat on a nice little pass play. And so there were a number of really impressive things today. Purdy had a deep ball to the new receiver Turner, who's got a lot of speed. Malik Turner, who's wearing number 0. That was a sharp pass play. Purdy found Debo on another sharp pass play. I thought Purdy's, or maybe the most impressive pass play of the day, was Dobbs to Willis in that second level, kind of that intermediate level. And Willis looks like he might be primed to make a contribution as a receiver this year. J.P. Mason had a real nice run that was halted by D. Winters. We saw Tatum Bethune have a real nice hit. Even though they're not supposed to be hitting, he had a nice hit on Cody Schrader. In the move the ball drill, Brock Purdy, took advantage of a run lane that was there for him and took off. We saw Dobbs hit Debo in a move the ball drill play. As far as who didn't play today, there was no Jacob Cowing. I have a feeling Cowing's dinged up. Hargrave was the veteran rest day. There was no Feliciano, probably same veteran rest day. Tay Martin hasn't been out here. Garendo's got a hamstring. All those guys missed practice today and were not out there. So just a couple things that stood out. As I said, Friday's practice was a lighter practice. Today's practice was a little bit heavier. We're seeing Dominic Puni. It's interesting to me the depth they have on the offensive line. So like today we started to see Zakel at center. And between Zakel and Barch and Brendel and Nugent and Feliciano, the 49ers have tremendous depth at center. They really do. Kingston's been playing some tackle. Puni's been playing exclusively guard. Burford, before he broke the hand, was playing right guard. It was interesting, too. I was reading an article from, before practice today about Brock Purdy and how Brock Purdy says, you know what, I want to be dominant. And it really shows me that Brock is going to find a new level of play this year that's even higher than the levels he's reached thus far. And so, to me, I know there are people that look at this roster and say, you know what, it's an aging roster and the window's closing and so on and so forth. And there are some examples of age on this roster. You can point to Trent Williams, you can point to George Kittle, and a few others. But when you look at Brock Purdy and the fact that he's 24 and likely a franchise quarterback who's ascending, and it's far more likely that he's got another level to get to than he's going to actually regress. And when you put the Niners season in that context, and you think about, Are they going to be better? Are they getting better? Are they getting worse? Are they still in their championship window? I think as long as you have Brock Purdy in an ascension mode where he's continuing to get better, I think that covers for a lot of roster weaknesses and other areas where you might be getting worse. Like, is Trent Williams getting better? Probably not. Is George Kittle at this age getting better? Probably not. But if Brock Purdy is getting significantly better and coming into his prime as one of the best young quarterbacks in football, and he's an MVP candidate, and he continues to ascend, that in and of itself could be enough to lift this team to that next level, which means winning a Super Bowl. So to me, that's probably the most exciting part about the season ahead, is the improvement curve that we're seeing and continue to see with Brock Purdy. All right, that does it for us. Thanks to Pig in a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Oh, one other note, 49ers did make a roster move today as they signed wide receiver Frank Darby and waived cornerback Keeman Hall. With, Cowing being dinged up a little bit, and with Ayuk holding in, and Pearsall having the hamstring, obviously the 49ers felt the need for more wide receiver depth. Darby, he's a New Jersey kid who played at Arizona State, 6 feet, 200 pounds, was a teammate at Arizona State of Brandon Ayuk, and was a 6th-round pick by the Falcons in the 21 draft. Good size, good speed. Ball skills have been a little iffy throughout his career, but he's definitely got ability to make plays down the field. People have always questioned a little bit of the hands of Darby, but man, as far as size, speed, and the ability to make plays down the field, he's got all of it. So there you go, the one roster move of the day. Frank Darby, your newest 49er. All right, thanks to Pig in a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.